Um, my name is Andrew Marsh, and I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when I was 51, after having had a career as a geologist in the construction industry. And what I want to talk to you today about in session 42 of my Talking Asperger's with Andrew series is the importance of constructive feedback, and it needs to be two-way feedback, where the supervisor or manager and the employee sit down in a room away from the hullabaloo of what's going on at the workplace, have a cup of tea, and spend half an hour or an hour just feeding back what the boss wants to talk to the employee about. It may have been about something that you delivered, a report or a project, and the boss needs to go through things in a logical and ordered way. Primarily, they should start off by saying what went well, what they particularly liked about what you delivered in the project, and be constructive about that. Then on to talk about things like communication. Were there issues with communication between you and me, or between me and other members of the team, or between you and other members of the team? And it's really important that the boss sets out what he thought happened in communication, and the employee then gets the opportunity to discuss it with the boss, so that this feedback, as I just said earlier, is a two-way conversation. It's not just the boss laying out this went well, but this didn't go well, and trying to browbeat you into making you not feel good and making you feel small. That's not what management is about. It might come as news to some people who are managers, but management is about finding the right ways to support your staff so that they can be the best that they can be at what they do, and communicate to you in the best way possible so that you can deliver your objectives. That's what a good manager is. And in fact, that's what a leader is. And that's more of what I want to talk about today is leadership management, because I have worked in some places with some fantastic managers and people who have inspired me to do really well at what I did when I was a geologist. But it's fair to say I have worked with some people who are criminally bad at managing. They are absolutely shocking at managing. They don't know how to manage. They probably haven't had any training in being managed, in how to manage. And that's a failing of the business. And having a manager who is always nitpicking, always time clocking you about you were 1 minute late this morning, or you were 2 minutes late coming back from lunch. It doesn't matter. Get over yourselves. What you need to do is support your team so that they can be the best, so that when you deliver your project to the people above you, it's a collective event, and everyone feels as though they've contributed to that project. Yes, you'll get some kudos out of it because you've managed the team, and you've managed them well. You've led the team well. Having a manager who is nitpicking about time, who is nitpicking about all sorts of silly things, that you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right. Just pick you up on those 2 points for a moment. You didn't do this right. What didn't you do right? Were you told? Did you brief that person properly and thoroughly about what you wanted them to do? Or did you just say, give them some pieces of paper and say, go and sort that out? The person doing the work hasn't got a chance of doing something right if the boss is just saying, do that, do that. I've got this problem, fix it. You need to have effective communication with your teams, with your leaders, so that you can work together. It's not about the boss being the one that gets all the plaudits and gets all the praise and gets the bonuses. That's part of it, but it's not focused about that. It's about getting the best from your team. And the way to do that is with effective leadership. And part of that is effective communication with feedback. So the feedback needs to be talked about what went well, what worked, what what did what did they surprise you with that was insightful. I liked what you did with that. That was a really good point you made. I liked the way you developed and sorted out that data. That was clear, it was concise, and it was visually presented in a way that is easy for someone to understand. That's good feedback. Having the boss having then had his moment of talking about what went well, think about the challenges, because there would have been some challenges about what happened in the project. So talk about the challenges, but don't, you want to get away from saying you did this wrong. what you want to say is, I wasn't sure that this aspect was communicated correctly because I felt as though you were going down the wrong line or you were taking the wrong approach. What can we do together, you and I, the team and I, what can we do together to make that better next time? So that you're not pinning and pinging and blaming someone for a mistake. You're saying, what lessons can we learn from this activity, this part of the project, and how can we make those lessons learned so that we can do it better next time? And then at the end of the conversation, you need to be able to say the boss needs to leave his ego at the door, her ego at the door, and say, okay, I've given you my feedback. I want your feedback on the project, how you got on with other members of the team, how you got on with me, and your communication with me. That's where the boss has to be able to say and listen and be mature enough to accept that some of the things that didn't go well were because the boss didn't communicate what they wanted properly, made too many changes, had a sudden hissy fit at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. No, 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 this is all wrong, wrong, wrong. Well, sorry, boss. You should have known before 4 o'clock on Friday that something wasn't going well. Where's your regular checkups? Where's your communication? Where's your dialogue that you're having with your teams? These are things that are important. A manager should not ever give a piece of work to someone and say, there it is, go do it. I want it back in 2 weeks' time and it better be good. No, that might, and I say might, that might have been how things were done in the 60s and the 70s and maybe the 80s. But the 1980s, started 42 and a half years ago. We can do better than how we managed things and did things in the 80s. We have to do better. We're more technologically advanced. We've got computers that can aid us in manipulation and presentation of data. We've got all of these tools and things at our disposal that we can call on to make life better in how we do what we do. We cannot keep going down the road of just having dictatorial managers who are browbeating their teams, telling them they've done everything wrong, knocking them for their hours, not paying them their overtime. All that will do is creates resentment from your teams. It will mean that when you're really pushed for something and you need something out, your team's going to be, it's 5:30. We're off. Goodbye. Do it yourself. There's not going to be any loyalty because you haven't earned the loyalty because you haven't earned their respect. And you you can't browbeat someone into respecting you. It's not going to work. Trust me, I know. I've been there. I've had people who have expected me to respect them and they've treated me like dirt. It's not going to happen. There's only so much you can take before you say, stop. Not doing this. This is not the way to talk to me. This is not the way to deliver for us to deliver this project together. So it's where the boss needs to let their ego at the door and have constructive feedback from the employee, from the teams that says, and they should start with what went well. Yeah, I thought that what you communicated to me on that aspect was really good and I understood it and I was very clear about it. What didn't go so well was I had some concerns about halfway through the project and I came to see you about them. You were very short with me. Now I know you're busy. We're all busy, but we need to find ways of getting over that initial reaction that you have because you can sometimes blow up. You can sometimes be very vocal and it's very disconcerting when I've got a problem on the project and I need to talk to you about it. The alternative is I don't come and see you and I do what I think is the right thing to do, and you only find out about it at 4 o'clock on a Friday when it's time to hand over. And then you look at it and you think, that's not what I wanted. That clearly doesn't deliver something to our client. And so that's wrong. So that's why I want to come to you when I came to you on Wednesday at 3 o'clock to say, I need to talk to you about this just for 5 or 10 minutes. Can we do that? Now, it may be that what you're doing is really busy and really important. That's fine. But let's say come and see me in a quarter of an hour. Let's have a cup of tea and we can sit down and talk about it. That's a much better way of getting me to understand that you have priorities, but it's also a way of respecting me that I have an opinion, I have a difficulty, I have a challenge, I have a question I need to ask you about how you want to progress this report. And you're then giving me the time. You're taking the time in 15 minutes time to give me that attention so that we went through that. That was good. I appreciated that. I know you're busy, but it meant that I could go on for the next couple of days knowing which way you wanted me to go with this project so that we can deliver this project either further up the chain or to our client, which is the best way for us to be. So I appreciated that you said, a bit busy at the moment, but come and see me in 15 minutes and we'll have a cup of tea. That's a much better way for me, the employee, the one doing the work, to get your contribution and to get it in a professional, constructive, and positive way. So I appreciated that. I didn't like it when last week you blew up about to someone else in the team about something. We need to find ways to deal with these issues so that we can be fed the right information and you can understand what is going on. So that's really important for us to be able to understand. So that's part of the feedback. And then the really interesting part about the feedback is, did you have any other comments or any other thoughts? Have it open, just like when you have a meeting. You have a meeting, you have an agenda, and right at the end is usually any other business. Is there anything else about what we did, how we did it, that can help? And this might be where your employee says, actually, do you know what? We've done this type of project for a couple of times now, and I think we could approach certain parts of it better if we did this. And then you would explain your reasoning, your idea. I didn't put it in before, and I didn't speak to you about it before because it was maybe a little left field. It was a little different from the approach that we've done before. But I think this is a positive way that we could make the project better, make the deliverable better, give a better service to our clients. So I would really like to talk to you about this. I've got 2 or 3 ideas about how we do that. We can either go through it now, or when we're having the next opportunity to go through things, I'd appreciate it if we could sit down for half an hour or so over a cup of tea and we could go through it, because I think these might help us. These might help how we do what we do. These might help how we present what we present. And it might make everything run a little smoother because it would make things better for us. So, yes, I have some ideas. I would like to talk to you about it, because if it can make our life easier or the product better, then we should do these things, and we should try and implement them. And I'd like the opportunity to talk to you about that. And so that those sort of 3 stages of a feedback into a discussion are really important. Boss goes through what went well, what didn't go well, and what their thoughts were. The employee then goes through those 3 items and then gives their honest opinion about other things that might have helped. And it might be that you've got work with other teams that are working beside you, or other teams that are elsewhere in your building, or your external building, or somewhere else within the company, maybe a different office somewhere else. And so you've got those distant communications to deal with. Now, in the way that we run businesses now, and having spent 2.5 years going through COVID, we can all do exactly what I'm doing. We can have a call with someone on Zoom or other platforms. So yes, we could always pick up the phone. We could have a Zoom. We can put our slides together and have half a dozen slides on PowerPoint and go through things with people. So there shouldn't be any great excuse to say, those guys in the other office, they let us down. No, you need to brief them. As we've gone through my 7 steps program on how to manage people with Asperger's, but general management of people. If you implemented all the steps in my 7 steps program to manage people with Asperger's syndrome better in the workplace, you will manage everyone better in the workplace. You will have smoother, more efficient, more effective communication, teams, and product delivery. And you will have a happier workforce because you will understand your communication channels and what is expected of each other and what their roles and responsibilities are. And these are really important things to understand in business, that everything in business boils down to the communication between you and me. you and my team, the team I'm working in, the team you're working in, the team I'm working in, the business that we're working in together with however many employees, whether that's 5 or 5,000. The principles are the same. Set out your communication, set out your check-in points, understand how people do things and give them opportunities to communicate with you during the progress of the works. Have a review at deliverable time, then have a review afterwards for feedback. If you can implement those things in a logical, ordered, well presented, well thought out, and uh, with enough time, you have to allow time to do this. Good management doesn't fall off the back of a lorry. Good leadership doesn't fall off the back of a lorry. You have to think about it. You have to think about who you have working for you, how you communicate with them, and set up your procedures in place so that when they've got a problem at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday, they can come and see you, or they know that if you're that busy, but you'll say, "Come and see me in half an hour," or "I'll see you at 4 o'clock." That's fine. That's all fine. So you need to allow those things to happen. Excuse me a moment. And that's where I said at the beginning, feedback needs to be a two-way street where the boss leaves their ego at the door. Because if someone who's worked for you in your team has got a genuine concern about what was done, how it was done, what information was presented, how it was presented, how you managed, how you communicated with them, it's your duty as a manager, as a leader, to take the time to talk it through with them so that they understand where you're coming from, you understand where they're coming from, and you reach a consensus. And it might well be that the person, that the employee, the member of your team, has a better way of doing it than you, and you're the manager or you're the leader. And you say, "Do you know what? You're right. That's the better way of doing it. Let's see how we can implement that in the next stage." Rather than, "No, it's my way or the highway. You have to do it exactly as I've said." That's not allowing your team to be innovative. That's not allowing them to free think. That's not allowing them to use their skills, to use their brains, to use their ideas, to use their problem solving skills. You might as well just have automatons working for you. You just want drones doing a certain thing all the time. If we're going to be a diverse, inclusive, and equitable society and businesses, then you're going to need and you're going to have to employ people who are different from you, who have different backgrounds, different ideas, different cultures, different races, different genders, different languages, all the gambits, all the variables of people, society, culture. Because if you have people from all walks of life working for you, guess what? Someone in that room may have a solution to the problem that you have. And because they are different from you, they've come from a different background, they're a different race, or they have different ideas about something, or they're from Eastern Europe, or they're from Southeast Asia, or it doesn't matter what their differences are. If they can bring something to the table that helps you solve a problem, helps you deliver a better product, helps you manage the teams better, that is what you want. That is what your leadership wants, because you want to be able to inspire people in your teams to progress. Because as they progress, guess what? If you're good, if you're a good leader, they will push you up. They will push you up. If people are appreciated and doing well, and making the business look good, it will make you look good, and they will push you up because they will want to be supervisors, they will want to be managers, and you will naturally, if you are a good leader, a good listener, a good communicator, that will get fed down, that will get fed up to those above you, and you will get pushed up. That's what you want. You want your best people to be challenging you so that you can move on and you can move up to a better position, a better level. And you then know that the good people that you have are managing the teams for you, and it all works well together. And that's what we need. So feedback is really important. Constructive feedback is so important, because if you don't get good, if you don't allow the time for an hour after you finish the project to go through and have feedback with them, what will happen? You will have a demoralized staff who are not incentivized to work for you. They're just doing the bare minimum. They'll be out the door as soon as 5 o'clock comes Friday. So when you are pushed for time and you have a project that is a tight deadline for a new client that you want to impress, they're not going to hang around if you're just going to be sitting there clock watching them, docking them time, not giving them their overtime, not supporting them, not encouraging them, not giving them the opportunity to free think and use their ideas and their creativity. Those things fall by the wayside because they won't deliver that to you. They will just be time served, 5 o'clock Friday, good night, I'm off down the pub. Doesn't serve you as a manager, doesn't serve you as a leader, doesn't serve your business. So it's really important to take the time to do that communication with your teams so that you can find out how to do it better next week, tomorrow, the next day, the next client, 6 months time, next year, because these things matter. If it matters to your employees, to the people in your teams, then it matters to you. Good leadership will understand that. Bad management, micromanaging nitpickers will never get it. And they will never have the loyalty and the effort from the teams that a good leader will inspire from their teams. And part of that is today's topic, which is constructive feedback. So if you're in a position of managing or supervising teams, take the time to make some notes about the project that you've worked on. What went well, what didn't go well, what communication activities went well amongst the teams and between you and them, and what didn't. What did you struggle with, and how can you overcome that and have that conversation with your teams? And they will soon know if you're being open and honest and fair and reasonable with them, because they will be able to tell from your mannerisms, the way you're asking the questions, your reaction to what they say. If you go, oh, we can't possibly do that, they know they're onto a hiding to nothing. You need to be attentive listening, making notes, understanding what they're saying, and going, do you know what? You were right. We did have some difficulties with communication, and I wasn't available for you when you needed it. I apologize. How can we do it better? You're very busy, boss. Maybe we should set some time, maybe 3 o'clock every day. Just have a 5-minute check in. Can we say, we don't have anything that we need to talk to you about at the moment, but I think something might be brewing for tomorrow. Can we set aside quarter of an hour, half an hour tomorrow to go through something? Manager's job, leader's job is to say, yeah, of course, let's do it. Let's schedule that now so that I can schedule that in my day. You can know when to have it so that you can have your questions and the information you want to talk to me about. That's good management. That's good leadership. And leadership is what it's all about. Leadership, communication, feedback. What more to be said? So that's today's topic in Talking Asperger's with Andrew. Thank you very much for listening, for those who are watching this on replay. If you want to know more about managing Asperger's syndrome in the workplace, then please feel free to get in contact with me through my website, which is up there, aspergersmatters.com, or my email address, which is andrew@aspergersmatters.com. And I would more than welcome the opportunity to have a free consultation with you to talk about how I can help you, what you need to be aware of, and how, as someone with Asperger's who's worked in industry, has 23 years of experience in that, and other skills that I have because I've retrained and reskilled since then, how I can help you in your workplace, with your teams, with your managers, with your business strategies in how to get the best from people with Asperger's. Because as I said earlier, if you implement all the techniques in my 7 steps program, it will not just help you with the people that you have who have autism or Asperger's syndrome. It will help you with everyone that you have, and you will find that your business will be better, your business will thrive, you'll serve your clients better, and you will have happier, more efficient, more effective, more loyal, more committed staff who feel valued, and you cannot put a price on that. So you do your bit, you learn how to manage them better, or better manage them, and they will work for you at those times when you really need it, they will put in the effort for you. Because if you're just a micromanager who's watching their clock, watching how long they take for their breaks, it's not going to happen. Don't let that be your company. If you need to reach out to me, please do. Andrew Marsh, aspergersmatters.com, or andrew@aspergersmatter.com is my email, and I'd love to talk to you. So that's all for today. In next week's episode, I will be scheduling on Friday afternoon as to what the topic will be for next week's session. But until then, thank you all for being on board. And if you do have any questions, then please feel free to get in touch. So until next week, take care and thank you.